Hello everyone, it's Silvia. Welcome back to my channel. I am so very excited today because we have a guest. We have a fantastic guest. It's Andrea Aste. And we've talked about his decks so many times before. I am so very grateful, Andrea, for you to be here with me today. We're going to talk about something incredibly exciting. But first of all, I was thinking, how do you feel about talking a little bit about your background and your artistic journey?
Sure, no problem at all. But first, thank you so much, Silvia, to inviting me here to talk with you. It's always a pleasure. I love your channel, and I think it's one of the few very interesting channel about reviews because it's
Oh my
deep, it's
goodness.
nice. I love it. So it's an absolute pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you so much. I'm getting all red now. I'm all I'm blushing. So I think that what from the tarot community, tarot readers and tarot collectors alike, what we always want to know, there is one question that we always want to know. Can you tell us about your journey as an artist and what has inspired you to link your artistic expression into tarot?
Yes, I will say an accident. Everything, many times things doesn't happen as you want, but happens because they happens. No, the accident was a tribute that I wanted to give to my mother. My mother was a tarot reader, and she used tarot to create a lot. I mean, she read tarot seriously, but we were kids at the time, me and my brother, and she would use tarot to create stories. They were very fantastic, but sometimes they use tarot just to give a little bit of burst in life, self-confidence, like, oh, don't worry, let's ask the tarot if tomorrow everything will be fine in school. And she lay down and then she started telling story. Oh, you will be nervous at the beginning, but then something, you think to lose the memory, but everything will be fine, don't worry. It was absolutely fantastic. And when we were very little and kids, she used tarot like, we like storytelling. And she was an amazing storyteller. So sometimes she used tarot to, let's say, manipulate us, but in a nice way. Like draw a few cards and say, "Oh, the tarot are telling me that it's time for you both to go to bed," and so it's okay. But then there was the funny part, the deep part, when she was doing seances, experimenting with automatic writings. I mean, she was a very curious person. Very spiritual, not religious, but very spiritual. So she was always researching, experimenting, reading, studying. I love it. I really like it. I think she pushed us to be creative. And so one day I think in my 30s, I don't know. I don't remember at the time, but I decided, I mean, you just finished one of your exhibition and you wanted to start a new one. So I said, what is the theme? And I decided that the theme would be tarot. I wanted to paint a full deck of tarot in oil colors. But, you know, painting an oil color on canvas is incredibly long. It takes a lot of time to dry, and then you have to do another. All the colors are go on top of something that has to be dry. I mean, it's incredibly long. So I said it will take a lifetime to create something like that. So I said, what I can do? So I started writing. I mean, working with inks, and my first deck of tarot started to take shape. And from there, a lot of while drawing the tarot, the fantasy, the storytelling of my childhood started to explode. So I started to think, to imagine an alchemist inventing tarot. And then I started to invent the story of the alchemist. Then I started to write and depict, I mean, illustrate his grimoire. Then, because everything was strange, I started to write the deciphering of the manuscript. And then I have to tell the story how it was discovered and deciphered. And so the Book of Shadows, the Lost Code of Tarot,
And I
came to
wanted to
be.
say, it's first of all, I just have to say this. What an amazing experience with a mom. It must have been incredibly bonding, to be able to receive all of this because it's also an act of love, I believe, using Tara as a storyteller, but also to give you a little bit of confidence and to tell you that things are going to be okay. And it's something that will stay with you. And it's something that it's amazing because as a tarot reader and collector, sometimes we feel like we have to do this for others, don't we? So it's an amazing, it's really beautiful to hear you talking about her. And going back to you were mentioning the Book of Shadows, and I really wanted to talk about that because, as we've seen from the Book of Shadow, you do have a multimedia approach to your art and to tarot.
Yep. I they say that when I started to paint on canvas, oil on canvas, it was amazing. I enjoy it. I have a vision. I started uh, to find my way, find my style, because I study philosophy. I never study art in school of anything. I mean, not prof. I'm not a prof. I was not a professional artist when I started. I started because I like it, and then it became my work and my profession. But then, after a while, I started to see many more things in my paintings. I saw them alive. And so I started to animate them. And when I started to animate them, my art shift from classical painting, even if it was not that classical, but I mean classical things that you paint, you hang, to multimedia, to game, to books, and I love it. But this is the reason why there was a lot of friction with my country, because they don't like something that is outside the box. If you're a painter, you have to paint. You're a writer, you have to write. You cannot mix things. So they started to say, "Oh, but you want to create an illustrated books? You wrote it. You're not an artist anymore, a real artist anymore. Oh, you animated a painting? Oh no, you are not an artist. Disney is not an artist. It's just for kids. It's not serious." And then I started to have frictions. But so I left the galleries of art to start working with museums, because I want to produce something that it was not for selling. And this was the problem. Because if you have a multimedia project, it's more difficult for a galleries to sell it if they don't know how to do it. So I started to work with museums. And there I found my way. I left completely the galleries and I started to produce my own stuff. So my own decks, my books, my art, and be completely independent. I keep having exhibitions, rarely, because it's incredibly amount of work to create. But I selected the places to do it, and I don't care if, I mean, if at beginning I was looking for, how can I say, official recognition of me as an artist. Now I don't care. I do it if I have to rent decaying fabric, not use anymore, because this is what I need for the concept of my idea. I do it, I use it. I do all the invitation myself. I ask friends to invite everyone, and let's have an exhibition. And that's all. I mean, now I see no, I see publishers and galleries and this kind of structure like middlemen that sometimes can be interesting if you find the intelligent one, the one that push your limits, the one that connects you with the world. Otherwise, they're just sellers, like, I don't know, potato sellers that
Marketing.
I don't like them.
I think you're touching on some very interesting and important topics, especially nowadays, because I believe as a tarot tuber, I see it every day. There are boxes out there, and if you don't, if you don't fall exactly, if everything you do, everything you put out into the world doesn't fall into a built box, it's everything is confused. The algorithm don't understand you. They don't know where to push you. It's very, I think, for everyone is making the experience less enjoyable, because we may like different things, you know what I mean? And
I agree.
perhaps today I want to see a video just on tarot because I want to understand how to read a certain card, but perhaps tomorrow I want to see a tarot deck that has artistic value, then it's really beautiful. And it's not because I want to learn how to read it, but because I want to appreciate the art that is behind it.
Yes,
So I
yeah,
agree.
I think we live in a very difficult moment right now, because if one side there is the destruction of the stereotype and the labels, but to the other side we keep using very rigid labels. I see on my profile on Instagram, because if you do tarot, you explode, but I do a lot of stuff, and I refuse to have different accounts for everything that I do, because I've seen silly. I'm a complete person, but one of the questions that I really hate when people ask me to define myself. How can define something? I can define how I'll be today, but tomorrow I will change. Fortunately, and lucky for me, I will change. I will be a different person because I grow, I mature. And I think about labels. What I really don't like, and this is maybe is the part of the surprise, the event that we will say later, is that what I really don't like about the tarot, I mean, about Warren in general, and then in tarot, because we're talking about tarot here, is labels that we give to the cards. Think about the meaning of a card: stereotypical, shallow, meaning connected to a card. And whatever you see in the cards doesn't matter anymore because you glue the definition you learn, and it's usually incredibly banal. What I like is the multi-layers aspect of the meaning of a tarot card. And I think this is what is incredibly important for me as an artist. This is the goal, creating
So
something that is multi-layered.
I think this is very important what we're talking about now because, I was hearing you and I was thinking to myself, one other very popular question, especially when we talk with creators that are artists, is how do you balance the artistic expression with the traditional symbolism in the tarot cards? Because that's going to be a difficult one.
Yep, I think I mean, it's difficult if you want to do something incredibly beautiful and deep. If you want to keep the connection, because I know many artists that they don't care about the connection, they just use a theme to color a tarot deck, and that for me doesn't work at all. I mean, for me it doesn't work. Then if work for you or for others is good. I mean, I don't want to be judgmental in this way, but I have a philosophical background and I study a lot. I mean, in my philosophical and academic career, I have in my background history and philosophy. So this is a huge buzz for me because if you think about the tradition of the traditional representation of tarot cards, so we talk about the Visconti Sforza, the Marseille deck, are the oldest. Visconti Sforza, the oldest surviving deck. We have history. We have philosophy behind. So think about numerology. Well, the numerology that we have today is just like um, byproduct of ancient philosophers. So if you have studied that people like Pythagoras, like Plato, or the Neoplatonism, you have a stronger base because they use it to do calculation, to interpret the world, to give a explanation of what was happening, to understand our nature as a human being. So for me, that is the origin of everything. So I go back to that. Then the cards, usually every cards have a huge amount of symbolism. And then I don't think about the symbols, how we interpret it today. This is one aspect of tarot reading or tarot meaning. I'm more focused about the interpretation of that time. We have never to forget that tarot started as a playing game, as a card, as a card game. So it was not connected to reading the future or interpret your mind of having clue of as a psychological tool. They were just cards for playing. So, but there is very interesting. Think about something, the classical example. Think about the devil. When we see the devil now, we think almost of an abstract concept with a meaning or different kind of meaning. But think about the late Middle Age, early Renaissance. The devil was real, was perceived like real. It
Yeah.
was perceived like the origin of all evil in the world. I mean, if something strange was happening in a town, the devil was blamed, and people that were worshipping the devil was looked for to hang or to be burned, to purge society of the evil and start again. And I think about diseases. I think about something like that. That is quite scary. But the way we see the devil today, if you are not, I mean, quite crazy, is completely different of the way they saw the devil at the time. And then imagine that many people were not able to read. So you have to interpret the visual and the symbolism of the visual, like the saints. I don't know if you or every one of the readers is familiar with the classical representation of Christian saints. For people that know, people were not able to read. So you have to know them, recognize them by symbols, by object they carry, by the representation. You see, I don't know, a saint with a walking stick and a dog. This is that saint. You see a saint that is blind. Oh, this is the other one. And it's immediate because it was, I don't want to say a cliche, but it was classical or coded by society representation of the saint that we use to communicate. And tarot were used in a similar way. And so is interesting. So what I do when I have to create a deck, I study, I keep studying, I keep doing research on philosophy, on history, and everything, philology, if you want. But then I have a mood because every deck of mine is built around a concept and a concept that want to highlight as let's say a stack of layers of meanings instead of another one. So if I
Mm.
want to have the mystery of tarot, like in the Lost Code of Tarot, the Book of Shadow, the Lost Code of Tarot, I was more focused on the building of the meaning of tarot, and so the building of the tarot itself and the meanings that we give. So this is the reason why I invented the alchemist. This is the reason why there is a grimoire, that there is the ciphering problem, because for me was the why I wanted to stress the problem of interpretation. So tarot is a question mark. Different approach, different answer of the same question, what this card means. In other decks, I focus more about the different meanings of a card
I
or the
love
different
this.
layers.
I love this. What you said, tarot is a question mark. I think it's very evocative as an image because obviously it also refers back to our own experience. How do we look at a card? And it reflects and mirrors more or less our knowledge, of course, because we are tarot readers, but also our experiences in life. Because
Yep.
as you were saying, obviously 500 years ago, the figure of the devil was evil incarnate, it was temptation, etc., etc. It was really scary. Now we tend to look at it in a different way because we reflect the pace of, nowadays, these times that are always evolving. How would you
Yep.
believe, as a tarot reader, knowing your decks, I can also tell you that I feel when I use your decks, that my experience is actually enhanced. So, as an artist, do you speak to people using your decks? Do they tell you that they can recognize your references? Because I imagine that to be something very important to you, and I can assure you as one that is using your decks that I definitely feel the history, the philosophy, the numerology, the RWS, the symbology, etc. What's your experience with tarot readers that use your decks?
Incredibly deep and incredibly interesting, because for the goal of my art, of everything I do, even when I create a tarot deck, is try to make people dream again. I think that the goal is magic, create something magical, but in every single meaning of the word. The magic of childhood, the magic of the time when you turn off the light and you were scared of
Yes.
monsters, and you dreamed and you talk with your toys and your toys talk back to you. I love that, because that is a more creative, more imaginative, more vivid period of our life. Then there is the rational part. Then there is the magic of the stage magic, the magic of the tricks, the magic of technology, the magic of something that surprises us. Then there is the magic of the books, the unknown, the esoteric magic. And this is the goal of everything I create, even a tarot deck. But of course, a tarot deck is guided by everything we said before: the philosophy, the meaning, the history, and the use that people has. I like when people that use my deck to read have intuition, and they comment and they give feedbacks. I have a lot of people that interpret my cards in a complete different ways, and every time they started to say, "I'm sorry, but I see this," and I say, "No, you don't have to be sorry. This is a tool. What I create is a tool. The way you use it is up to you. If you see different things, I'm delighted." When at the beginning of my career, when I was just a painter. After the vernissage on my exhibition, I used to go in incognito. So, and I just look around, usually putting behind people that were talking and commenting my paintings to see what they see in them. And believe me, sometimes I wanted to cry by the depth, by the emotion that I haven't seen. Because for me, it was my emotion, my interpretation. It was interpretation of life from my point of view. But see how others were connected to themselves was incredibly deep, incredibly amazing, and changed my way of creating. And there are people that are afraid of emotions, and I learned not to be afraid of them. I'm the kind of guy that whenever I go to a concert, as soon as they start playing, I'm crying because the emotion is strong. I'm crying watching film when I have to say goodbye to a friend that is leaving to another country, or just because visiting and go back to his country and you don't know when you see him again. I'm a very emotional, over emotional, and I don't care. I like to put all these
Absolutely.
kind of feelings in what I'm creating. I try to transform this very deep connection with reality, if you want, this kind of oversensitivity in whatever I do.
Absolutely. Look, when it comes to emotion, emotions are at the base of creativity because they force you one way or another to express everything that is boiling up inside yourself and have an outcome. And obviously, someone could be an artist with a different kind of media, someone could be a photographer, someone could be a filmmaker, a poet, and so on and so forth. But it is because we have these emotions that are so strong within
Yep,
ourselves that we have
but
to get them out.
yep, to remember, I'm a man, and this was the problem. Because if I born as a girl, it would be not a problem, as a woman, I mean. But because I'm a man, that was a huge problem. Because if I have incredibly magical and incredibly beautiful mother, I have like an ogre of a father. They wanted you to play soccer because a man has to play soccer. They wanted doesn't like your crying because boys don't cry. It was horrible, and we
Yeah.
never connected, and at the end I hate him for that. I have to find my own way of being. I remember one day when my father was likes photography, and this is the only way we managed to connect. Through the photograph he was taking, I was able to understand better my father because he was like a rock, completely opaque. You'd never know what it was inside, suffer, enjoy anything, because a man has to be like that, a monolith. And I don't, I mean, it's horrible thinking something like that. It's not healthy either. But one day, he was taking picture of dear friends of ours. They are Argentinians, escaped from their country, and they were dancers. And they created this amazing, beautiful ballet. And I was completely captured. I think I was 7, 8 years old. And because they have a school of dance, I said, may I enroll? I love this movement, the delicacy, the colorful, the music. And my father stopped immediately. I said, what? You doing so silly and so effeminate? Absolutely not. It was painful. Then you can imagine when I came out as a gay guy, how everything. Oh, it was quite interesting. At the time, actually, it was like the last straw. He gave up on fight against me, and it was better for everyone. But so this is the reason why, for me, emotion and the ability of dreams are very, very important. The magic. Because if you give up on dreaming, if you give up on seeing the magic in the world, if you give up in say I love you or I like you, we give up of our humanity. I mean, I always surprise of people, of reaction of people when I say what I think. If I see a woman that is dressed in a peculiar way and I like it, and I have the chance to say, I don't want to disturb you, but I have to say, you look fabulous. My compliments. I wish I could dare more and be and dress like you. It's fantastic. Oh, something like that. If I see something beautiful, I need to say a comment, a positive one. I do it, and people is not able anymore to accept it. Sometimes they are upset or to do something. Why we are not able to pay compliments to the beauty, to the magic of others, to the magic of our life? Why we are not able to do something kind to others? I don't
You're,
know.
you're, look, this really feels so spot on with everything that is going on in the world lately. And first of all, let me just say, I'm so sorry that you had to go through a difficult relationship with your dad. Because obviously, on the one hand, being Italian myself, I completely recognize this type of personality. It comes, on the one hand, there's one side of me that feels like saying, it's traditional, it's because of the way in which they were brought up as well. But on the other hand, there's also another part of myself that is the part that I always wanted to grow, that is the compassionate part that tells me it doesn't matter what traditions are. There needs to be compassion when you're raising a child. You need to be compassionate. So I'm really sorry that you had to go through that. On the other hand, I'm also thinking about many other artists, but also in the filmmaking world, for example. that had a little bit of a controversial or a difficult relationship with either one parent or both parents. And it feels like sometimes they use the artistic medium to try and process the grief that has been not being able to connect with a person that was supposed to be guiding you in life. And without, I really don't want to, ask something too difficult, but would you say that that is also something that helped you in expressing yourself? Would you say that artistic expressions through tarot and other media was a way for you to process this grief?
Yes, it was the process. It was a process to try to express my grief, to let it out, to even to define myself, to redefine myself, to invent myself, because I have a strong relationship with my mother that was creative and magical and everything, and my father was the complete opposite. He was crushing everyone in the family. He tried to kill every dream of us, from my mother, me, and my brother. So it was horrible. But that, or you will crush by it, and sometimes you are crushed by this kind of attitude because you cannot fight every single day. Every single day is very tough. But I think that give you the power to invent yourself in a better way and say, no matter what, I do it, and I do it alone. If necessary, I go away and I'm be free. And I free myself quite soon, and so I was happy about it. But the relationship was never meant, and there were many ways he tried to hurt me, and or hurt us, because at the end it was for everyone in the family, and we suffer a lot. But it's okay. I think this is the reason why I'm so connected. It's so important for me, the concept of dream. Be able to realize your dreams, at least to work on it, following them. Because I never accepted the idea you have to study something that is practical because you have to make money and to live. No, you have to study what you like, to grow, and the money will come. The work will come, because if society is not ready to give you a job, you invent your job. I invented mine. I mean, here in England, I was able to open my mind because I know people that I met people that create their own job, like a man that is still forging middle-age weaponry and armor. And he's doing for film, for museum, and he's doing what he likes. And he's absolutely amazing. And this is the goal in life. It's not doing a dull, useless job because someone told you to do. Our goal is to fulfill ourselves. Now we can change completely our society and our robots to do everything that is repetitive and useless from a human point of human growth. We
Yeah.
can dedicate ourselves to study, to read, to paint it, to be artists, to create. And this is the reason why I like augmented reality and in artificial intelligence, because if used in a proper way, it can help you to develop your creativity. If you use it for cheating, no. But imagine now everyone can create a film. This is
Yeah.
amazing, because we are creative people, and society try to crush our creativity. And this is the reason why I'm an artist. I want to give back, or to help people to have their creativity back, because everyone of us is creative. Is absolute lie that if you think that you are not creative, is just because you forgot how to be. When you are a kid, you are creative. You use the
Absolutely.
creativity to interpret the world, to explain it, to play with it. So
Look, as a tarot collector, I completely agree, because I'm actually, for one, very grateful that you were able to distance yourself from the issues created in the environment you grew up in, especially as we've seen brought by your dad. And on the other hand, the fact that you had the resilience to free yourself and to start working on what you like, rather than getting a job and paying the bills and buy a house and so on and so forth. I think that you're a symbol of that sense of fulfillment of the persona of ourselves, because you are successful as an artist, as a tarot creator. And when I look at your decks, as a collector, even if I didn't know you, even if I never heard about you, I would look at your decks and I would think to myself, these are safe in my collection. I will never part ways with them because they are an expression of art. And art is not for art's sake. There is a person behind that media, that painting, that card, that movie, and so on and so forth. So I think that on behalf of the whole tarot community, we're very happy that you are an active part of this community by creating these decks. I also recently, for example, you sent me a few decks back in, I believe it was May. Sorry, I don't remember exactly when, but I had the possibility, because I had almost all of your decks already in my collection, but I did not have the Ghastly Lenormand, for example. And I just absolutely love you. I love the art that comes out of that deck. You know that I've been asked several times how it reads, because it does have a shape of a coffin.
Yeah.
And I remember that either was in one of your videos or in one of your Instagram posts. Apologies, I don't remember. But you made some kind of a I want to say a collage, but it's not exactly a collage. So
Like
you
a
put
flower.
yeah.
The
So
flower.
and I thought that's amazing. That's brilliant. That's really brilliant.
You know, I play a lot. So you have an idea. That idea was to create a macabre deck. And because I never created Lenormand, I said, I want to challenge myself. So I studied Lenormand. I said, it's very intriguing, but I wanted to create something. I don't want to say Adam's Family like, but Adam's Family was in my mind. I love it when I was a kid. So I wanted to create something macabre, but with a lot of humor, a very dark humor. So very spooky too. And so I said, a card that I see immediately the box in a shape of a coffin. You open the coffin and you see the cards inside, and everything came into my mind with this visit that I had with
Mm-hmm.
my boyfriend to Père Lachaise in Paris when I stumbled on Madame Lenormand tombstone. And then there are lots of things happen. I have this strange meeting of this woman clad in black that tell me that the legend that you leave a deck on the tombstone of Madame Lenormand, and you retrieve it the day after, is charged with all her magic and everything. And in that moment, I decided I have to create an Lenormand because it's so poetic, it's so beautiful, it's so spooky. And then when he said in the shape of a coffin, my first horror problem was, can you shuffle it? And so I started to create, and yes, because it's different. I said, maybe it's difficult. So if it's difficult, people will not use it, so I will not create it. So I started to cut coffin cards in different shapes, different dimension and everything. And then I started to shuffle, and I discovered that you can shuffle even better because there are many vertex, and so it's easier. And then when I started to lay them on a table, I started to play, connected the different vertex, and I said, oh my gosh, I can create new spreads for Lenormand, new way of reading them. And I was drawn by it. So while I creating the cards, I started to create spread, new games, new things. And it is the reason why the booklet is so thick and so dense, because I explain how to read traditionally Lenormand, even with the Grand Tableau, because when I bought my first Lenormand deck, there was no explanation how to use it. And I was completely, flabbergasted, because I said, and now what I do with this deck, I have no idea. I come from tarot. So this is the reason why I did a lot of research, and then I put the result in a very easy and a very quick way. One page, 2 pages, and you know how to read it. Even because, again, I discover a lot of Lenormand reader create connection with cards, and the creation as a meaning. I mean, a couple, this is the couple, this is the meaning. Another couple, another meaning. I like that because it's quick and everything. But as always, I challenge to find new meanings for the usual couple. So don't repeat the meaning that you ever learned. This is just one of the many possibilities you have. Use your brain and find new meanings, new things to say, because at the end is what matters.
Yeah, well, look, absolutely. I think that everything you're saying resonates so much because, I believe that there are different stages in life when I look, for example, at my relationship with tarot and reading tarot and also collecting it. When I was 14, I was probably reading about boyfriends and stuff like that, and what was going to happen at school and what was going to happen at the volleyball team because I was playing volleyball. But then, you mature in life, and what I really like is that no matter your age, um, tarot can actually be accessible because it always points to very important experiences, both in the as above and the so below. You find the nitty gritty stuff in the minors, but you also find the really big, important cosmic energies in the majors. So I really like what you're saying about, also the combination in between the Lenormand cards. Use your brain, and I think also use your heart and use your experience in order to make this combination and these associations. So that's something that it really makes me smile hearing you talk about this, because it's a confirmation for me, but also I believe that our viewers, whomever is watching this video right now, and your followers as well, would just nod their head in unison right now, because it does feel like it's something we know, and we know it because we have lived through it.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, would you like to introduce something that is really exciting that is going on in these days? So now we are in October. I call it the Spooktober. So for me, it's the spooky month because I love Halloween. It's my favorite time of the year. And I'm so very excited that you agreed to be interviewed on my channel because you have some really exciting news. Would you care to share something about this?
Absolutely, yes. Because, I mean, as I said, I love magic and I want to express magic. I find incredibly difficult to connect with people and find, I mean, connect with people that have the same ideas and the knowledge to share things. I find difficult to find magazine and informations about the things that I like in the esoteric world. I have very specific ideas and a very specific approach to tarot, to art, and to esotericism. And I decided to create a magazine, a very special magazine, because how can I say, I have a lot of ideas in it, and it exploded in my mind. And in 1 week, I have the title, I have the website done, the logo exploded, and I started to write emails to the people that I know in the esoteric world that I knew they were interested in take part of it, and I created a magazine. And now is alive. So I'm incredibly happy. There is the core point of the magazine is interpreting magic as the science of imagination. I want it to be very deep but very accessible, because if you take a classical magazine about tarot esotericism, there are lots of things that are quite, I mean, for me, they are shallow, like problem solving, like you suffer from, I don't know, you want to find your lover, this is a spread to use. You want to find your lover, this is, because always is love. This is the ritual you have to do. Yes, okay, but this for me is a little bit of problematic, because we are human. We have to let's do a step back. Why we produce art? Why we write poetry? Why we invented a religion of esotericism? Because we are human. They are answer to our deepest questions. They are tools for us to know the world, to interpret, represent it, and understand and represent ourselves too. So esotericism for me is a deep need of answer the most important question. There is life after that. What is there? Think about ghost. Every single culture has a ghost story. From ancient Babylonia, we found tablet. If you know Professor Finkel, that is the responsible for is an Assyriologist, is working of the British Museum. He wrote an amazing books about ghost stories in the Assyrian world, and it's crazy. In the Babylonian time, it's crazy. How we speak about 5,000 years ago. So, and then
Yes.
you go to Japan, you go to South America. There is the Roman time. There is always a ghost. Instead of talking about a ghost story or telling something like that, why don't we talk about why we believe in ghosts? Where we compare the ghostology, the myth of ghosts, the way we represent them, the way this ghost story develop. why a ghost is coming to our world, and then we create an article about it. This is the spirit of the Discombobulator, the my magazine. I mean, I wanted
Yeah.
to go deep. I wanted to talk about magic, as I said, from the point of view of imagination. Imagination is our ability to dream, to think something that is not yet here. Is the inventive part of our brain or our soul. So I wanted to have philologists, I want to have philosophers, researchers, creative mind, artists. I want to attack esotericism, approach it from different point of views. So an historical approach to tarot cards, to a problem, something artistic, an artist that is still not still, that is representing mythology in with his new modern technique. It is interpret ancient myth. I wanted to create something completely unique, but not just in the content. I wanted to present the content in a special way. So bigger pictures, beautiful pictures. We have just page with maybe just one picture with one big pictures. If I have to create one page with what one single word, because this is important, I do it. I created the magazine the other way around. I didn't know how long it will be, how many pages it will be. I said, I want to have this kind of topics, this kind of number of articles, and then I give the space they need to breathe, to convey what they needed. And so the point was mixing a very beautiful, what do you call a coffee table magazine? A beautiful and expensive and rare collectible item, artistic magazine, and an esoteric one, mixing and create something absolutely unique. And the subtitle is The Esoteric Magazine of the Unseen and the Unexpected, because it's like a Wunderkammer, a cabinet of curiosity. I wanted to showcase all the beauty that is there in the world that is not mainstream. From all around the world, from the Africa, from South America, North America, Australia, esotericism is an expression of our human being. I wanted to connect with all of them. I mean, you know that I live in Buenos Aires. I have when I was a kid, so I have a lots of connection with what they call as brujas, or curanderas. So there are what we call witches and healing person, and they beliefs is the transformation into the re-elaboration, an ancient mythology and system of interpretation and system of cure people with herbs that then is part of our modern medicine and our belief and mixing Christianity and everything. I mean, these are complex things, but why don't we interview them? Why we don't talk with them and go back to time, to the Inca period of time, of to the Indians? So there is an anthropological curiosity, if you want. So it's something that is really special, and is I think it's completely unique because doesn't exist something like that in the esoteric world.
Well, I know, and that sounds absolutely fascinating, amazing, and I am so looking forward to see this magazine. So for all our viewers, Andrea has been fantastic and very nice because he's actually sent me some footage of the magazine. So let's take a peek. My goodness, what an amazing magazine. I am so excited and thank you so much for sharing this footage with us. But Andrea, am I right? I've seen some really famous names in there. Was I hallucinating?
No, I contacted the most important esoteric researcher, writers, creators in the world from all over the countries because I wanted the best to write for the magazine because, as I said, it's very important the content. I want quality, I want depth without being difficult. It has to be accessible. But then I wanted to create, let's say, a double community of a double faces community, the community of the readers, but then a very special community of the authors. I wanted to invite people to talk with them, to share, to create new content, share content, to interpollinate. I always use these words because it's a way to create, to mingle, to know each other. And I think this is very important and is part of the fun. So we have incredibly big names like Letizia Barbier, Sasha Graham, Emily Cardins, and Mr. Sato, the founder and director of the Tokyo Tarot Museums. So people that are incredibly amazing. They are brilliant. They have a point of view on tarot and magic and the world, and they have something to say. And they were eager to say something that was special. And I love that every one of them loved the concept behind the Discombobulator, the idea of giving a voice to those who have not a voice, to talk about something that is rare, that is unseen, that is difficult to find around, to meet in real life. And I'm happy because the magazine will be, I mean, we all be present the 21st of November at the College of the Psychic Studies, because there will be the official launch of the magazine with few of the most amazing contributors. They wanted, we were able to come, we were able to come. And one is a little bit different because he's a person that were not in time to write for the number 0, but will write for the number 1. So it will be a meeting with the present and the future of the Discombobulator. And so Con is open, is free. There will be a party. There will be a talk, a very special magic talk with Letizia Barbier as a host of this beautiful event, and then will be a party and in one of the most
That sounds
prestigious, maybe the
that,
most prestigious institution for esoteric study in the world. It was founded in the Victorian era, and Conan Doyle was there. So I mean, chapeau. I'm incredibly excited. I never imagined such a thing could happen to the magazine. Believe me, is I overwhelmed by happiness and over
I can
emotional now, but I'm happy. I mean, wow.
I can imagine because, and I remember congratulating you on this fantastic effort and on the production of the magazine. And just for our viewers, this will be on the 21st of November, as Andrea mentioned, at the College for Psychic Studies in London. Yours truly will be there as well. So I will be able to take some footage and then I will be able to let you see with your own eyes what's going on in this amazing place that, as Andrea said, is one of the most important institutions worldwide when it comes to the study of the occult and magic. And not just because of the number of years in which it has been up and going, but also because of the names that have literally been sitting on a chair. Andrea, I'm already thinking, my God, I might actually sit on a chair where Sir Arthur Conan Doyle was sitting.
Yes, but we have to forget something, that you are one of the contributors, and I have to say that I mean, you are an amazing esoteric journalist, and I love your work. And you were one of the first people I contacted when the magazine was still in my mind. And I'm happy that you are part of it because I really loved your writing, the way you're doing it. And I think people need to know this other side of you because they see you as a YouTuber, but they don't know how deep you can go where you're writing. Not that you are not deep in your video, but when the writing is poetical, is different. I like it. It's personal. I think people will love you're writing a lot, and your article
Thank
is
you, Andrea.
absolutely
It's
magical. But
you're very blunt.
we don't want to say about what it is. Maybe not. But they will discover it.
Well, I haven't shared. So I have shared with my viewers that you asked me to write for your magazine, and I think that many of my viewers picked up on that because I received a lot of messages saying, "I look forward to read your article." And also, when I said that I was going to be there in London in November, everyone was like losing their mind because there's a lot of people out there, and my viewers are kind of used to that. When I travel, I always try to get a sense of magic in the country I go to. So I have in my channel, there's a whole playlist which is called Tarot on Tour. And
Yeah, I
I
saw
basically,
it. I love it. I absolutely love it. So, yep, I know. I mean, there is a reason why I ask you to take part of this endeavor, and I never regret it. I love it. I think there are a lot of people that deserve more attention because they are wonderful, because they have a lot of knowledge, because they have a lot of things to share from an emotional side, from the knowledge, from their perspective on the world. And we need that. So we need a voice, an independent voice. And for me, it's a mission. I mean, I invested my savings in the magazine. I'm working very hard to do it. And if you want, there is a little surprise that is something that maybe people don't know. Now, for the issue number one, I created illustration. But from the number one on, I will open the door or a contest, and the winner will have the artwork. It could be a picture, an illustration. We will decide it on the cover. From now on, the
oh
cover will
my
be
god,
dedicated to an amazing artist.
oh
And
my god,
the second and the third artist, they will be featured inside the magazine. So, because I think there are a lot of people, there are a lot of expressivity, a lot of ideas, and esotericism is, I mean, is something very special. There is not just tarot, there is sciences, there is history, there is anthropology, there is art. A lot of artists are creating esoteric world artwork, and they deserve to be there. So I want to feature someone there in the magazine.
absolutely.
I already in the first issue there is an amazing artist, an Irish artist, illustrating. um is mythology, Jonathan Hackett. If Hackett, I don't know the right pronunciation, so I'm sorry, Jonathan, if I misinterpret your name. Remember, I'm in Italian. I do a lot of misspelling, so sorry for that. But I'm trying to do my best. Then correct me, and I will be okay for everyone. So it's amazing. I mean, I want to show different point of view on the esoterica and give new ideas to people, knowledge of the world and how to use the deck, whatever deck they want to use, and going beyond.
So, wait a second, because I think that we touched on something incredibly important, especially for the viewers, because some of the viewers, I know them personally, they are artists themselves. So, guys, if you're watching this video, did you hear what Andrea just said? There will be a contest for you guys to be able to have your work being displayed in the magazine. How amazing is that? Thank you so much for allowing, for giving others this possibility to express themselves, because it's not something to be taken for granted, especially nowadays. I think it's absolutely remarkable. And how would you say, on the tail of that, how would you say that the reaction of the tarot community, because obviously you already had to introduce the magazine in a few places, from what I remember, what was the first reaction of the tarot community?
The first presentation I did, it was very peculiar because it was at Manchester for the TAVI Summer Conference, and it was a little bit of a teaser presentation because in the goodie bags of the convention, there were a postcard with the magazine, but without
Mhm.
saying that it's a magazine. So you don't know what it is, and the same the name. I mean, well, yes, there was the Discombobulator, the name and everything, but they and then in the back there was the description of the magazine, but they were flabbergasted because the name, the Discombobulator, why it is name is not serious, is crazy. But this is the point. To discombobulate means to shock, to flabbergast, to surprise, but is very old dated, old fashioned, Victorian. Nowadays used only with ironic undertone. It is the reason why I wanted, because my approach to esoterica is serious, but I want a little bit of dark humor. I want a little bit of fresh eye on it. I don't want to be. It's like, I don't know. I don't want to have the approach of we believe in it and absolutely yes. No, I said let's play a game. If this is real, these are the consequences. So, do you believe in ghosts? I prefer. I will always say yes and no. I prefer to live in a world where the ghost exists because it's more fascinating. Do you believe in tarot? Well, it depends on what you say. Can we predict the future? This is difficult. If we predict the future, it means that the future is written, is there. So this will be very problematic.
Yeah.
But if we shift the focus on predicting the future in realizing the future, then the tarot can help because they can see what will happen if you're still going on doing what you're doing right now, like the consequences. And that is interesting because then tarot are there sitting at the convergence of an infinite number of futures, and you have to actualize yours. And it's more deep, it's more intriguing. So I don't know, you see it is a very philosophical approach, but it's something that give you a multi point of view on the same topic, and then you can decide what you like or you don't like and use it or not use it. But you are enriched after something like that. It is the reason why I wanted incredibly special people to write. And if every one of you have an idea about a topic, an object, a deck that deserve to be featured in the magazine, I'm here, I'm open. I mean, it's not just super famous people can write. I wanted quality. I select people for their quality, not their fame. Many of them, they deserve the fame because they created something that is absolutely amazing. So why not? And then we know each other for years, many times. So we collaborate in another project. We know the problems of the community now, the community of creators are now facing. Think about what is happening now on YouTube and Instagram. Yeah, there are lots of people that do something like they're following the philosophy of in 2 minutes I tell you the meaning of the card, or few seconds the entire deck. This is incredibly offensive from my point of view because this is diminishing the value of something, reducing the meaning of a card to a stereotype, and this does not help anyone. This approach is damaging because you kill all the philosophy there. Is just I like, sorry, I'm losing my English. Is like what a dear friend of mine says, who witches. This kind of horrible way is just making business, transform esoterica in business, in money making. And I saw creators doing something like that. Uh, Writers, and I don't like it. This is what I want to go against. You are interested in tarot? Read, study. In 5 seconds, you don't do anything. You don't know tarot. It needs a lifetime. I think esoterica is for those who want to embark on a journey. And you have to read, you have to discover. But it's fun, it's magic, it's fantastic, is endearing, is an adventure.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
I have to say on this topic, it is something that really hits close to home and close to my heart because you will see on YouTube, because obviously this is, it's a video that will be posted on YouTube. So this is the social media platform that we're choosing to say what we think. You will see videos of people that will say how to read tarot in 10 minutes, and they have 500,000 views.
yeah.
500,000 views.
It's
And then
offensive. It's crazy.
and every time that I see something like that, I think to myself, okay, so you're creating 500,000 tarot readers that think,
Yeah,
that they can actually read tarot in 10 minutes.
yeah,
And then you see videos from Benebell Wen, for example, or Lisa Robertson, or people who've been studying tarot their whole life, and they only have like 5,000 views.
yeah.
And
I
and
know.
I think to myself, it's not fair, but it's also very dangerous because we're creating this culture of using and disposing, and moving on to something.
Exactly. and is absolutely horrible, and we have to pay attention. We have to fight against it. I know that everyone has not the time to do it, but if you don't have the time, you don't even start to do it something. I mean, it's like I wanted to play in the violin and didn't have the time to study it. Well, you don't start. I mean, is very sad. It's saddening because they is destroying something that is poetic and something that is beautiful, reducing it in something that is immediately digestible without that. Is shallow, is a very shallow approach, and is dangerous. And is we see it in every aspect of our life. We are bombarded by this kind of content, and I'm tired of it. I'm really, really tired. And this is the reason why the magazine was incredibly welcomed by the tarot community. I met people that wanted to write, people that wanted to have ideas, and I talk with them. There are skeptical people, of course, too, but I don't care. I mean, you like it, you do it, you read it, and you see what I'm doing. And I think it would be important in the tarot community, and I think in the tarot, in the esoteric community, and I think that when I presented the concept to the College of Psychic Studies, the fact that they immediately said yes, we want to present it here, we are honored, we are happy, is the most important form of recognition for me, because they are very serious in what they are doing, and so I'm deeply honored about it.
Yeah.
And I think the esoteric community will be delighted, and the magazine will grow and grow. I said I wanted to create a very strong community of people that becomes friends, and this first meeting in London will be very special
Mhm.
because we will have the chance to talk all together. Now everyone talk with me, but they don't. I mean, you all didn't talk with each other. Imagine be able to talk with between us and go deeper in questioning, in answering, in talking, in discussing. Imagine how many beautiful things will be born by this meeting.
There
It's
will be a lot of creative, very strong creative energy, I imagine, at that meeting that day. Because it will be in the air as well. It will be something that it's a force to be reckoned with. It's just something very, I'm looking forward to a lot. So now that we've talked about the Discombobulator and the way in which it will be presented at the College of for Psychic Studies in London, I'm also thinking, what is your next step? Because a creator like you, an artist, is always moving and always needs to grow. And I know that you're always incredibly busy. So is there something you want to share with us about next projects?
Yes, the immediate future for the magazine is to make it grow and make it stronger and maybe even bigger. So it will be is special. Is for me is a dream, and I wanted to go on just with 2 issues here. So in this way, I can curate everything properly. But I want to open the door to museums to have deep insight on magical object, of history, of esoterica, of decks, and everything. It would be incredible. It would be really, really incredible. I already in contact with libraries, with museums, and something special is coming. So I'm very happy. And then, of course, I'm going on creating my stuff. I have a lot of ideas for exhibitions, animations, and new doors are opening. So I have to think which one I can actually walk inside,
Yeah.
because too many and I cannot. But in the immediate, if I manage, because you mentioned the Ghastly Lenormand, and unfortunately I finished the booklet, so I'm working to the reprinting of it, but it will be a little bit different. So I will
Okay.
make something special, and I will have a second edition, and I want to do it for Halloween. I don't know if I manage because the time is incredibly tight. Halloween is
Yeah.
my favorite period of the year, and I'm already late, like always, because other projects engulf my time. But then this year, again, if I manage, and I hope to, because I want to, is to open the door to a new Kickstarter campaign with the most difficult deck I ever created till now.
Oh my God.
Contemplating is the deck that I will present. I know I'm when we. Well, I'm sorry, we are recording, so I already talk about it in at the UK London. No, sorry, at the UK Tarot Conference. So it would be there. But anyway, the new project is called the Tarot of Cross Destinies, and is heavily inspired by Calvino and his Castle of Cross Destinies. So it's a Miriorama deck. This means that every single card connects with all the other cards, creating a unique image. So I wanted to create what I called esoterical structure, or structure of esoterica. So imagine creating a magical building and read it, because every card is a room, a hall, a corridor, a secret or secret space inside a castle. And so it's very, very, very peculiar. Is it took a lot to create. Is the deck that is more distant from the tradition, because I took the meanings, the symbols of the tradition, reinterpreting to make it fit in the concept. And I have to say, is great, is spooky, is marvelous, is a very poetic deck. Because imagine a castle where every night all the rooms go in a different position. So the door where that you open go to the kitchen now go to a corridor, or uh, to the ballroom, or to a tower. Imagine a place where you will find the castle is an entity that show you what you need to know. Is like a god, is like a deity of tarot, is like the interpretation of tarot. So the philosophy of that is quite intriguing, because there is the multi-layer and the disposition of the cards to create visually something that trick your reading in a different way. But it is all the philosophy of the poetic, of the the spooky aspect of the castle. So it's fun.
And I have to say, it sounds incredibly ambitious. So I'm really looking forward
Yes.
to. But I've also seen, so I follow you obviously on Instagram, and you already started posting, even at the time of filming. So just for full disclosure, we're filming this interview in mid-September. It will be posted in mid-October. But even at the time of filming, I've actually seen a few cards in your
Yes.
Instagram account from this deck. And I have to say, they look really beautiful. They look very intriguing as well. With this, as
Thank
you
you.
mentioned, the windows, the doors, the corridors, and everything. So it really feels like there's this sense of motion, and in advancement of the character in the center of the card. So very
I
ambitious.
Yeah, I started to take a different approach than before. When I created the first book of Shadows, the Lost Code of Tarot, everything was secret, and then I opened the door when I finished the project. Now because I was living still in Italy, there was a different mood. They say, no, you don't have to share because they steal the idea. Yes, okay. They steal it anyway, so it doesn't matter. They want to steal everything. So anyway, so I decided to share the creative project, the studies, the ideas, the working, even the mistakes, the cards that I changed on my Substack, the inexistent library. And so people that are interested can read my process, the deeper meaning of the cards, why I explain why I created the cards in the way I did, what inspired me, and putting all my research. I already shared one of the cards that created more content, more discussion and everything, was the Empress, when I connected the Empress with Pachamama, with Mother Earth, and so creating historical and different culture, so multicultural references, to give to the cards different approach, different layers, even because we have to think that now tarot are read by people coming from all over the world, different religion, different backgrounds. So opening the deck to this multicultural plethora of readers, I think it's a duty of, it's my duty, but then if an artist doesn't want to do it, is, but I feel it like my duty. So connecting the deck with different deity, with different culture, different languages, I think can be only enriching a tarot deck.
Absolutely. And because you've actually mentioned Substack, so for the viewers, I will make sure to put all of Andrea's website and all of the ways in which you can actually contact him in the description box below. So if you want to check out Andrea's Substack account. So you will be able to find it in the description box below, and just click on the link. And I highly recommend you do so, because it is always very interesting. Because Instagram, it's cool because you can show something visually, an image, etc. But I believe that nowadays, when you want to express a concept, Substack is actually taking a lot of marketing from an audience, let's say from Instagram, because you do have the possibility to expand your message to a wider kind of audience, which is not necessarily driven by hashtags, and that's something that is changing in the
Yeah,
world recently.
yeah,
Remember, Andrea, I don't know if you remember when Instagram started, it was all about the hashtags. Do you
yeah,
remember that? It was all about the hashtags. And nowadays, we're actually, all of these social media platforms are actually trying to step away from that and provide the viewers with the more genuine content, and not something that is just because it's got the hashtag beautiful day, then you just look
yeah.
at the images.
No, I agree. The hashtag were used like just like hooks to attract people or in content, and sometimes were not at all pertinent with the hashtag himself, so it doesn't make sense. And then again, I like Instagram, like I like Facebook, but I think if you see my communication is different. On Facebook, I think there is more space for reading and for
Mhm.
writing, so it's a little bit a middle way. Instagram is more visual, so I
Yeah.
put a little bit more stuff. I am enjoying it because it's more immediate. I like it. Is you scroll a lot of, I mean, I use it in this way, but I read content
Mhm.
on Instagram. Then I prefer watching. So if I want to watch, there is YouTube, but I don't have
Mhm.
a real YouTube channel. I download the stuff, but it's not like yours alive. Then I have Substack, and on Substack I can share I don't want to say my real content, my deepest content,
Mhm.
because then there is the space for the image, for the video, for the recording of my voice, and sharing different things. I use it, my Substack, for all my creative projects. So you see a little bit about the magazine, a little bit about tarot, a little bit my children books, about my videos, because it's a place where I share my background, where I share the behind the scene, because it's nice to see the final product, but I think it's even more intriguing to understand why something has the final shape that it has. And then you see all the divergent ideas, whether they were not working to do to starting to writing, I mean writing, to starting creating the Tarot of Cross Destinies. I had to study a lot. And you see the studies of color, because when you want to connect cards, the first question was, I connect them by the line. So it's the line of the drawings, but then the colors here is, I don't know, red, and here is blue, and then they
Mhm.
don't match. Oh, I have to match the colors. And so I draw 3 cards, putting random color without hue, without shadows, without anything. And you see the difference. You see
Mhm.
when you don't match the color, when you match the color, when you match on the line, limited palette, a rich palette. I did a lot of tests, and you see them. So it's a process. And then I shared the studies that I did, because there are different Miriorama decks, not tarot deck maybe, but Mirioramas are there from, I mean, 200 years. So
Yeah.
it's interesting to see what they have done and the limitation, because is a structure that will give you so many limitations, because everything has to be connected. So it's very difficult.
So to me, it's fascinating because I'm not an artist at all. I mean, I know photography, but I do appreciate beauty when I see it. And I was thinking you were referring to so many different outputs, children's book, tarot decks, and the magazine, and everything that you've done, even creating the story of the alchemist. So I think that you're an excellent teacher. And if I were an artist, but I'm not, but if I were, or let's say if a young artist came to you for advice. And by young, I don't mean age related. I mean someone that is a rookie, someone that is just starting. What would be the first advice that you would give them?
To start doing and studying and practicing. No, because I mean, many people says, "Oh, but I don't know how to do it. I have an idea, but I don't know how to do it." I will say, don't cheat. Don't do the shortcut, like, okay, artificial intelligence, because this is, I mean, is a tool, but it cannot be the result. I don't know how to say. Is different.
Mm.
I will say, don't listen what people says around you, because many will don't like your style, others will do. Many will relate with your content, many doesn't, will
Mhm.
not. So don't care about that. And I will say, because the first thing that I have to face when I started, I mean, I'm coming from a working class family, so we didn't have a lot of money. Sometimes you have. I mean, I remember the period of time when there were difficult times in Italy, and you eat too many potatoes. Potatoes was like the big currency, and my mother didn't know what to put in the dish because you have to do a lot of stuff. There are lots of expenses, like the books, because we were studying, we were young. But anyway, it happened. There was a period when dinner was potato salad, then potato with something else, then potato. I hated potato after a while. But anyway, now I'm joking and laughing. I mean, I admire my mother for the ability to cook for everyone where we never had lots of money. And so money was always an issue in my family. And the first things that I have to face when I said, okay, I want to be an artist is, how do you survive?
Of
And
course.
honestly, I always survived. I always survived doing artistic jobs. So sometimes was a painting by commission. Sometimes it's not something that you are interested to, but it's interesting to. I mean, sometimes once I received a commission that was the strangest one, to have the portrait of a dead dog, because this
Oh,
person have lost his dog and I wanted a
oh,
portrait in my style of his dog. And I said, I don't like the idea, but I need the money. I said, okay, I saw it as a challenge. I will never draw something like that. Let's do it and let's have fun. And it was amazing. And I have a lot of fun in doing it. So I think there are many ways. You have to use your imagination, you have to persist, and above all, you have to do all the sacrifices that are necessary to achieve your goal. When I
yeah.
created the Book of Shadows, I started to work at, let's say, 7, 8 in the morning, and sometime I went to bed at 2 in the morning, stopping just to the necessary. So, bathroom, food, errands, every single day, Saturday and Sunday, and I worked like that for 3 years. But then I created something to change my life. If
Yeah.
you don't put all your energy in something, you can expect to have energy back. You cannot take the shortcut. Now I saw too many artists want to be famous. I never acted to be famous. I created because I needed to express something that was there. I never look for money, I never look for fame, because if you want fame, it's better you do something else. Because
Yeah.
it's easier to be no, it's easier to be a content creator on Instagram, and you'll be far more famous than I am. Instead of creating art, you can just put something together and present it, and you will be famous. If you want money, there are lots of more paid job than not the artist one. I mean, publisher pay a little, the royalties are little. It's very difficult to live with that. So you always have to create your own way. But if money is your goal, fame is your goal, well, change job. It's not for you.
Absolutely.
This is a job for someone that cannot do anything else. I mean,
It
must.
is. It is something that comes from the heart. It's something that is obviously
Exactly.
driven by passion rather than the economics of the job itself, which we all know that they say artists and writers, unless you become super duper famous, but it's 1 in a million, then you don't pay bills, because that's the way, ironically.
This is the legend, because as there are the few people, like, I don't know, the Rowling, the author of Harry Potter, they are swimming in gold, and they are lucky. Okay, but these are very very few people. But there are lots of artists like me that can have a very decent and very comfortable life. You can make an earning, but the money cannot be the goal. You have to create something. I mean, then it depends on how honest you want to be. I can create a deck with cats because I know that cats sell very well, but I'm not interested in that, and I prefer to explore my own ideas and concepts. And I know that if I do a good job, money will come. So I invest in time, in my resources, and everything, and I do it. Like for the magazine, I mean, I invest my savings. I never thought, oh, if it were bad, yeah, well, if it's bad, I start again. It's not that the problem. You have to be an entrepreneur too.
Yeah.
You have an idea, you believe in your idea, do it, listen, correct it. Is a work in progress. I'm not scared to do mistakes, because from the big mistakes I made in my life, I learned the most important lesson. It is important.
Absolutely. And look, this actually leads me to a bit of a wrap up or a last questions that I think it's very important that I wanted to ask you. So, how can we, as readers and collectors and fans of your art, best support your work and the launch of, in this case, for example, the Discombobulator?
Yep. If you want to support me, there is the Substack with just the price of a coffee a month. Or a month or a week, maybe it's a week. I don't remember. I have no idea. I don't know if it's a coffee a week or it's a coffee a month. But anyway, it's not a lot of money. You can sustain it because if 100 people give you a coffee a month or a week, whatever it is, you have a little bit of money to do something else. As I said, as I told, I'm mostly of my work as an independent. So I produce my books, my decks, my everything. So it's important. If you like something, buy it. Buy the original one. If you want to support, buy what I create if you like it, of course, and it's great. If you want if you want commission work, I'm always here. If you have ideas, we can discuss it. I mean, I always open up this kind of discussion interaction. And then, of course, with the magazine, it's not expensive. If I remember right, is 16 pounds 50 pence, so it's not that expensive. And then there is the digital version that is a little bit less. mm Less expensive. So it's up to you. I mean, and then of course the most important thing is sharing with your friends that I'm exist, that the magazine is there, because nowadays we are drawing in a sea of multimedia and being seen is incredibly difficult. So sharing is incredibly important.
The word of mouth is always the most effective advertisement campaign we can think of.
Yep.
So, just to look at a few timelines, just for our viewers, when will they be able to purchase the Discombobulator and where?
Yes, the magazine will be available at the website I created for the magazine. So the the www, the discombobulator.co.uk, and from there you can buy the digital version and the physical version. Then on my on my shop online, so Andreaste .world. Then on Etsy, I think I will put it too. So there will be different channel to buy the magazine. I have no idea if I managed to open the door at the end of not at the end at the yeah after the conference, the London conference. So I think in the second week of October I would like to have everything ready, because it's not easy to set all the mechanism there. If I manage before, it will be before. But if you want to know, subscribe. There is a newsletter, and I will share the news of the is finally available on with a newsletter.
Fantastic. That sounds great. And also, there will be a possibility for the viewers that are in Australia. I might be able, I will confirm with you guys because I know all of you at a later stage. But because I am going to London, I might be able to bring back a few issues if that's okay for Andrea. And then
Absolutely.
you will be able to purchase them and have them shipped from Sydney. That's where I live. So you will not incur in any kind of you know, taxes and GST and tariffs and shipping costs and everything. And by the way, for our American viewers, would that be okay if they got in touch with you when it comes to the shipping costs? Is that okay if they message
Yeah,
you?
yeah. Because I think there are different. I mean, it's not clear now how the tariffs are working. But if I understood correctly, books and educational material should be free from
Okay.
every fee. But anyway, the fee is 10%. So for a book or the magazine that is, let's say, 50 on 50 will be the 10% would be £1.50. So the fee is not something that destroy the possibility to buy it. And I have no idea. I mean, for the shipment, I have to organize everything, and I will see later. This is the final part because I organize something very special because the magazine will arrive in a very special parcel in a box. So you open the box and we find something peculiar. I don't want to ship the magazine like I mean I want to do it style.
Yeah, absolutely. It deserves it.
It's an
So just
object of collection, so has to
yeah.
be. perfect, and it's special.
Absolutely. So, just to confirm that you obviously will be able to ship to the US, because I
Yes, yes,
know,
yes, 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 yes.
okay,
I
obviously
already started ship everything right now. I'm still ship. I mean, I'm back to ship to the States because here there were a lot of problems. Royal Mail were not shipping anymore. Now the problem is solved, so
okay.
I ship everything normally.
Okay, that is obviously really good to hear, because as I mentioned earlier, at the time of filming we're in mid-September, so we're at the tail end of all these uncertainties. And for example, Australia Post has already solved the problem as well. But I know that there will be a lot of viewers that will get back in touch with me or with you to, with a little bit of concern about this. But
Of
um,
course,
absolutely, send us an email to me or to Andrea, and we will be able to help you out. Do not let this uncertainty stop you from enjoying these publications, because art should be at the possibility for everyone to enjoy it, and these kind of things will always find a solution to them. Now,
yeah, no, I agree. I agree.
that was absolutely amazing to have you on my channel, and have this really incredibly open and honest conversation about art, about tarot, about magic and occult and symbolism, and how to make it in this world. Now, as a wrap up to this session, first of all, I wanted to thank you again, but I would also like to ask you, is there anything else that you would like to say to our viewers?
Thank you so much to have me in this channel. I will say just to be curious in life, to explore life, to play with it, like where you were a kid. And then life will have a different meaning, and you will discover that life will open up with its magic, its mystery, and it's absolutely fantastic. And then, of course, if you can come to London for the presentation, it will be fantastic. And let's stay in touch. I mean, as I said, the magazine is open to new ideas, new possibilities, and so let's write. You find the form of the email on the website, so you can
Mhm.
use it, and so we'll be in touch. I will try to reply to anyone and everyone. Sometimes it takes time, and so give me a little. Be patient, please, and let's see. Let's create together a very special and very unique magazine, and you will see it. You will see how special it is and how beautiful it is, even in the paper. I mean, something that is just a detail, but the paper is so thick, so beautiful. So I took a lot of time in looking for the perfect printer company. So I'm happy.
Well,
The quality is pivotal for me.
no, but as a tarot collector, I will have to say that cardstock is incredibly important. We always talk about cardstock in a deck, and obviously that goes without saying. It's also talking about the quality of a magazine. It's not the cardstock of a card, but it's still the cardstock or the paper used in a magazine. So it's nice to hear that you've done your research and you found the printer that was really ticking all the boxes for you in order to be proud of the magazine. So I would say thank you again. This has been amazing, and I think that when this will be posted, obviously a couple of weeks before I will post this video, I will just make sure to spread the news. So obviously we will try and have as many people as possible to watch this video. But if you can, as Andrea was mentioning earlier, please spread the word, spread the news, because it's always the best advertisement campaign. Share this video. I always allow my videos to be shared. I have no problems in doing that. So share this video with your friends. Tell everyone on Instagram if you have an account on Instagram, on TikTok if you have an account on TikTok, and so on and so forth. Because, may I just say something? It is because of you, the tarot community, that we can actually go on and make magic, that Andrea as an artist can go on and make magic. So you have to take care of artists like Andrea, because otherwise it will be a world that it will be very boring and sad. So we need to take care of our artists. We need to do that for them, but also for ourselves. Now, thank you so much, Andrea. I let you go now, and it's been really, really amazing, and we'll be in touch soon.
Thank you to
Thanks.
you, Silvia, and thank to everyone that is listening. So have a splendiferous day, and may magic always be with you.
Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Bye.